Greetings and welcome to a MultimediaJay thing. Okay, let's quit being such a ripoff. Okay, so the Antec True Power 2.0 480 watt power supply circa 2004. I recently spotted some capacitor plague inside this thing, so we're going to take a closer look at this thing. So I was getting my power supplies mixed up. There was another power supply before this one that was the power supply in the original Silver Bullet when I moved past the crappy one that came with the case. This actually came on the scene with my 2005 system because I needed PCI Express and I needed serial ATA and I needed all kinds of nice new stuff that came out when this thing came out. So, being that I bought this for the 2005 system, it's not strange that it was manufactured in 2004, and it is very squarely in Capacitor-Plagued territory, with the early 2000s being when all that nonsense was going on. Let's pop the cover on this and confirm what it is that I've suspected all this time. And by all this time, I mean a day. Alright, let's void the warranty after all these years. I'm sure 15 years is perfectly fine. Let's get the cover off of this thing and let's see what's under the hood. And here be where the hazardous voltages are that you're warned about when you see that little sticker on these things. So, blowing the dust out of this thing, it's in pretty decent shape except for these capacitors over here, which is what I spotted. There's the orange stuff, and they're not flat on top, and that one underneath looks really hosed. I know they say vent on them, but that doesn't mean they're supposed to vent. There's another one down here. There's another one down here that has some issues, obviously, as you can tell from that spot in the middle, this TNR that's right here. And whereas the other one is actually still concave, this one has gone convex as well. So the problem with these capacitors is that they're electrolytics. They're usually used for voltage filtering in order to not send dirty power out to the computer. So as these go, the computer that this was hooked up to would gradually get more and more unstable as this gradually got worse. Otherwise, it doesn't look too bad in here. I suppose theoretically I could just buy some new capacitors with the microfaradage and stuff and put everything back together. The big issue with the power supply, though, is that it is such an underrated piece of computer hardware. When it comes to the stability of your system, your power supply does so much for it. And so to have a over 15-year-old power supply at this point that we have already spotted capacitor plague in, yes, I could fix it, but so much has happened since the capacitor plague era that it's just not worth it. No, there is 80 plus certifications and things like that are out there nowadays, and plus you'd have all new components. And of course, manufacturing has changed since then as well. There might be some things like the fan size, usually proprietary in a power supply, 135 millimeters. So I could theoretically take the fan with me and then just disassemble this and take a look at the components and become familiar with the circuitry in it. But for the most part, not so sure about this transformer either. It looks kind of hosed on one side, so who knows, maybe this was getting ready to have something else blow as well, and it's just fortunate that we happened to spot the capacitor plague on there, especially, let's move this out of the way. Oh, look at that orange stuff. Ho 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 ho! Oh, that is ugly. Yeah, so this is definitely out of commission and going to be recycled. I might pull the fan, because it actually is a sensor fan. I think there's a sensor plug that goes all the way out to there, so that'd be cool to have, but I think it's 135 millimeters. Plus a golden grill would be pretty nice as well for some other power supplies that have fans of that size. Since then, though, I've seen power supplies with 120 millimeter fans or 140 millimeter fans, not so much the old school 135 millimeter one. But there you go. So this is the thing right here for electronics from the early 2000s. This destroyed so many devices. On the original Silver Bullet, the stability of the system got so bad that it would restart all by itself and hard lock until the system was warmed up. So it was basically like trying to cold start a cold-blooded carburetor car. So bad power takes down devices. And unfortunately, this issue in the early 2000s took down this power supply as well. So it had a good run, and I'm glad I caught it before something worse happened with these projects. So there are plenty of 80 plus certified devices out there nowadays that could probably do a much better job than this thing did. The other thing to consider is that with aging plastic, sometimes there's chemical changes in the plastic and it becomes more brittle. So I might run the risk of breaking some of these power connectors or something if they got a little too old. But it's just too bad, you know. I don't like e-waste, and I know e-waste often exists for really stupid reasons, and this is one of them. Some industrial espionage gone wrong led to stuff like this, which led to vastly shortened lifespans of various electronics devices from this era. And that is that with this power supply. MultimediaJay out.